Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Lastro Club podcast. This is your host, Vittal Mane, founder of Lastro Club, a wonderful human being at heart, with humanity as my religion and one nation as my nationality. I'm a career analyst, content creator, a lifestyle coach, and a branding strategist. On this podcast, from solo to interactive sessions, each episode aims to empower you and guide you with actionable strategies and tips for your personal growth and building your stronger inner world. Are you aware that Lastro Club has its own mobile app too? Download the app from Google or Apple Play Store and start listening to all my podcast episodes from our own mobile app. लास्टो क्लब को सुनते रहना मतलब जिंदगी से जुड़े रहना. This is one of my very special episodes from my podcast journey so far. I'm recording a series of podcasts while speaking with some of my life's heroes who have guided me and mentored me all the journey so far. These are the unsung heroes who have helped not only me but many other people in the society. And I consider myself as a fortunate to have such mentors and gurus in my life. Today, I'm going to speak with my guru who has shaped my spiritual and wellness journey, and he holds a highly regarded place in my life. In this episode, I'm going to talk with none other than Dr. Rajesh Guruji. Dr. Rajesh Guruji is recognized with a honorary doctorate by the Dr. S. Radhakrishna Research and Development Center in association with University of Asia in Kathmandu, Nepal. This award was in recognition of his contribution to the society. He is directly trained by Rishi Prabhakar Guruji, the founder of SSY, who was a scientist in Canada. Dr. Rajesh Guruji has been teaching health and well-being practices for over 30 years now. He took this initiative and vision of spreading his knowledge to the world. And he started SSY Centre in Dubai back in 2003. And I have been associated with SSY since 2008. He heads UAE centers and conducts various programs in corporate labor camps and for children. He has conducted many group sessions and corporate batches in various countries such as Switzerland, UK, China, South Africa, Singapore, and the list goes on. He has trained around 50,000 plus participants from all over the world and more than 20,000 only in UAE. And I'm one of them. His primary vision is to spread health and happiness around the world. His simplicity and friendliness makes him very, very special. So let's jump right into it and see what we can learn new from this candid conversation. Namaste Guruji, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
First of all, thank you very much for your time because I know very well that how busy schedule it is and you could really take out your time for this podcast, and I really welcome you on Lastro Club podcast, and I'm really looking forward to a wonderful conversation where all the listeners will have really a good insightful journey, what they can really connect with SSY and what they can really learn in their spiritual journey. So thank you very much. And to begin with, definitely we would like to know more about you from what I give as an introduction. Like, where did you find idea of connecting with SSY, and where and how exactly your journey started? We would like to know in the beginning, actually.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to the Lastro Club today. And it all just started recently, about 30 years back. So I was born, raised in a small town in Karnataka called Gauribidnur. And I was into my college days. I was a student of science. And those times, no social media much, but everything used to be out of word of mouth. So I heard a lot about SSY, and it happened so that it was happening just opposite to my house. And many people used to benefit a lot out of SSY by just doing 14 days plus 4 days retreat. And I used to hear only positive and no negative about the program, from elderly people to college mates. Then there is a little spiritual background from the family, so which inspired me to just walk into SSY to see whether it is my choice or whether it is in line with what I am wanting in life. And slowly, I absorbed a lot of beautiful information in the program. And towards the end of the 14 days, I could see there was a total transformation within as an youngster. Inspired me to give at least 1 year of time in spreading this message of what Guruji has given. And that's how the journey became 30 plus years now, being a full-time teacher in this. Yeah.
True. And I remember back in 2008 when I really started my journey, and I could recall actually being associated with SSY since 2008. And I could really relate now when you're talking about your just started 30 years back. So that was such a wonderful to know how and where you started. My next question to you will be, in this journey, though this is a spiritual journey, and this is one of the principle which Last Two Club really works on, that is, do you really believe that success, anything like in a spiritual journey or even in a professional journey, success doesn't depend on competing or chasing, but it is actually called as what you really deserve? And that's where one should focus, because today if you really look at the society, there is a lot of competition and a lot of people believe that it is actually you need to chase and run behind the goals and aspirations. But what I want to ask you is, do you really relate and do you agree that it is not about chasing or competing, but it is about deserving what you really want, whether it is spiritual journey, your health, wellness? What is your opinion on this?
Very good question. Many people are interested to know on this. Towards success, each one has got their own definition on success. And just to put it in a nutshell, after all the success, what is that you want to experience? Is happiness. And what is spirituality drives is why can't you chase your success being happy? So where will be the end of the success then? The end of success in generally is for happiness. And if you reverse the formula, happily if you are working towards it, means every moment you are successful only. Then it comes to the completion of a particular task, or you set a record of $5 million as a success ratio. And it is not that only 5 million is what you really deserve. You deserve much beyond that when you are happy from inside to outside with it. One of the biggest stress which people call going through today is they reach one destination and they return multiple, another success list will add. Okay, if that is added, then I'll be more successful. This will add, that will be more successful. Nothing wrong in expanding what you want to see as success in life. But what is most important is how happy you are in that journey is what really matters. And how each one of you know that this is what is that you deserve. So when you fix that I deserve only this, means it is more of a passive. I would call this as you're trying to manipulate your mind when you're not able to expand your vision, expand your resources, expand your energy to make much longer in the size rather than just going as adjustment, we say compromise. Some people, when they can't be successful, they use a word. I call this as a passive mind. Okay, you will see more of passive minds in the world than active mind. For that passive mind, we have a lot of reasons. Okay, God has given me this, so I should be happy with it. And this is what is my destiny. Okay, so I'll be happy with this. No, that is an absolutely an illusion. If you're ever caught with that, means you have not really reached to your inner potential. Each one's inner potential is infinite, and it cannot be measured by the success outside. But yes, success outside is just one milestone. Every milestone will guide you further, right? Why we have to stop in one milestone and get stuck
Very
up with it?
Thank you, Guruji, to know the difference between like passive and active mind and how it really differentiates. Someone defines success for one, himself or herself. That's so true. And even I could relate to that. Success may not be a destiny, it is a continuous journey, how you go through that journey. Thank you so much. And my next question to you will be, when I got connected back in 2008 with SSY, and I know there were different programs which I have personally gone through, from basic 10 days of SSY, then advanced meditation course, and many other courses also I have attended. But today, if you really want to convey our listeners, what are the various wellness and spiritual courses and services does SSY really provide, so that they will really know more about SSY?
That's the real takeaway of SSY organization. Guruji, Rishi Prabhakar Guruji made such a beautiful programs based on their age wise as and then required with it. Because this is not a program which is structured one for all ages. No. Every age has got their own requirement. It's like updating on their growth and that particular age of it. Right, I would like to start from, most of the programs are in the world after you're born. So Guruji has started right from pre-birth. Pre-birth means when the baby is in the mother's womb, called ISP, Infant Success Program, to train the 9 months connecting father and mother to the child, training the baby on various aspects of trainings. And then that goes up to the age of 8 ISP, from pre-birth to the 8 years. Then after the children cross 7-8 years, then they are given a nice training called Children's Siddha Samadhi Yoga. And if it is at a tender state, if you can mold them towards a better human being, they can go for a long journey with more and more success and happiness in their life with it. So there we conduct children assessment programs to inspire them towards ethics, culture, the family bonding, and the sense of responsibility, leadership. Of course, they eat healthy, they learn meditation, they learn pranayams as well with it. And as they go a little higher, there will be a challenge of academics now. And now too many challenges for the children, especially when they cross 6th, 7th, 8th grade, up to the 10th, 11th grade. So Guruji realized children are spending more time and they're not able to focus better, and they end up with whole year only studying, and there'll be 1 week of an exam. And during exam, they get so much of fear that they can't retrieve what they have stored for 365 days. Whenever you are, even for adult also, and suddenly a rapid question comes from the boss, employee also goes blank. Yeah. Because it's a fear. Fear means what? It creates a lot of fluctuation in the mind. So children go through this. Most of children, I ask them, and do you remember what you studied? Yes. When? Before the exam. And they remember after the exam. They forget during the exam. So Guruji introduced RCRT, Rapid Comprehensive Review Technique, a very beautifully structured program for children who are in the grade 7 to grade 11, all curriculums. So they learn how to fix a base for the vessel. Then you store anything, it will stay with it. Now most of children are, storing in a bottomless vessel. They pour and pour and pour. They know that they are pouring, but nothing is staying inside. To get stored, it requires certain techniques of learning the subjects and languages. So that helps them there. And then after they pass 10th, 11th, they need some sort of a connectivity on the true leadership in education. So Guruji started ILRD, Inspirational Leadership Through Rural Development. It's a degree course where they get certification, they get all sorts of facilities to empower villagers. And we have seen they can transform, one student can transform one village. Just take a thought, if all these youngsters can be a part of it, the whole India can be seen as a new India for what we are really looking for it. And that is happening with it. Then after they go into jobs, most of the people have stress. So that's why Siddha Samadhi Yoga is very well known in lovingly as SSY worldwide, which is for 17, 18 years of age till 90, 95 years of age. It fits into the well-being. That's a lifestyle program with it. If you look at across earlier, 45, 50 years above used to be sickness like blood pressure or a back pain, some sort of a challenges used to be after 50 only. Now, if you last observe about a decade or 2 decades, it has dropped down to 30 years plus. And nowadays, even college going students have diabetes and blood pressure. Means there is something wrong in the lifestyle that people are going through it. Unless you don't change that, there is no real charm in taking ahead with it. Then higher the stress, they need a deeper, a sort of an relaxing retreats. So we have advanced meditation course. Some people who wants to know how to manifest the true visions of their life. So there is a program called BST1 and BST2. That's about Bhava Samadhi training. And as to add on, there are so many programs which Guruji has gifted, which is helping for all ages. Yes.
So I think these are the highlights which you want to share. And these are the, and it's such a wonderful, like even I myself and my wife had gone through ISP also. And when you were telling, I could really connect with that. So that's such a wonderful structure of programs, which starts from pre-birth to the elderly people. They have a required spiritual journey and wellness journey, which they can actually connect with SSY and go through the program and feel for themselves. So I think this will really give a complete understanding to listeners that what are the different programs are offered by SSY, and definitely I'm talking to listeners that if you want to know more, I'm definitely going to give a link and the details in the description where you can connect with SSY and be part of this mission and really follow the wellness journey and the spiritual journey along with the SSY learnings. That will definitely help you transform your life as well. Now, my next question to you, Guruji, is if in a nutshell, if I have to really ask you that, how do you really define SSY, wherein you can say that this is how actually SSY is different than other foundations which are really giving similar kind of program? How do you want to differentiate and say that this is how we are actually different?
It's a very interesting question. Every school of yoga has got their own specialization in research and development and presentation. And our SSY is 100% designed by a scientist, because the founder was a scientist working in Canada as a senior scientist. So he took out the entire ancient yogic knowledge to the modern world requirement, and it is designed with that. The first step is it's completely scientific. So since it is scientific, it is non-religious. And since it's non-religious, it has spread across the globe faster and people could accept and implement in their life. And next is we are taught and trained to be down to earth, and our prime intention is on the seva, service. So everything the spirit from inside of all SSP teachers and volunteers including, it comes from the seva bhav. It is a connectivity of coming from seeing how you can divinely help the people around in the society with it. Yes, every school of yoga has got their own beauty on that. And we have heard a lot about people who have gone through different programs and they come back and they always say SSY is very simple and practical and can be seen the transformation within a week's time of journey. Yeah,
I completely agree with you, because whenever I have volunteered and I have gone through the batches, I still remember you always ask some of them who have any physical, challenges to get the reports. And then after 10 days, when they check those parameters again, there were such a wonderful and joyful results, and these people are so happy from the results after 10 days of practice. So those results itself talks a lot for SSY programs and the learning. Now, my next question to you is, everyone as a foundation which you are actually running, you also might have gone through some struggles and challenges. Looking at today's scenario, today's space, when we have actually come out of pandemic and we are trying to get back to normal lifestyle, what challenges and struggles would you like to share which you feel you have gone through, and what you could learn, and what is that change are you implementing in future SSY programs and as a journey?
Last 30 years, including last 2 years of pandemic, no challenges, no troubles, because I always see this as a two way of it. One is when you are disturbed inside, everything looks very troublesome outside. And when you are happy inside, all the troubles which are coming from outside is also seen as happiness with it. And that's another big topic to go on it. And in generally, last 30 years as such, no complaints, and because we were always charged with full spirit, whether it is we are conducting a program to one person or 1,000 people, our quality of program used to be same. So you will never regret inside that there is a quantity based programs. No, it is always quality based with it. And little bit of challenges which we used to see is in the remote villages where there is no transportation. We used to go by bicycle or by walk and crossing the mountain, going to the village, conducting the programs. If I look back, they became my strengths today. Okay, I still remember in a village where there was no proper power supply and water supply, but SSY was there actively. And I don't call this as a problems or challenges outside. It's a part of your journey which you go through. This platform, I would like to convey to all the listeners that the moment the word problem comes in, the solutions will disappear. So if you can reframe your mind and see it as what that particular instance, that particular experience has given you a lesson to heighten your consciousness, you'll see a huge progress and you can really have a lot of fun with it. Coming to last 2 years, yes, the whole world went through a lot of challenges, and we fine-tuned ourselves. When there is a bigger challenge, we have to have a bigger conscious. If you want a little air circulation, windows are enough to open. If you want much bigger and more light and good air circulation, you have to open all the windows. If required, even the door also. So the more suffocation you're inside feeling is because you have closed all the windows and doors in your life. So open that, see the possibility, and rise above that. If it is a problem to one person, we can say it as it's a problem. When the whole world is facing, it is not our individual problem. So we can all be together and see how we can help each other. Last 2 years, we could do more programs and we could reach to different parts of the world faster because people could log in from their home comfort and learn the science of SSY and various programs. And they're more disciplined now. Normally, when you're in trouble, you become more disciplined. Like people, when doctor says, 10 days of medication, follow this diet, people will follow very strictly. And 11th, 12th day, they will end up in another indisciplined life. So need some sort of a commitment for that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. As you rightly said, if you remove the word called problem, there are no problems in life. And I personally relate that whenever I used to go through stress or a lot of challenges in professional journey, I used to decide that it's time to go and connect with SSY. And I used to come and be part of the SSY programs, volunteer and spend some time. And I used to get that energy back and I used to feel relaxed. And this is what I really want to share with you, that whenever such a phase used to come, I used to say myself that let us devote some time and go and connect back to SSY. And that used to energize me, recharge me, and then I living like a normal life again, back to my challenges and everything. So it's a very true, as you said, SSY. Of course, you have that energy and the aura and the spirituality, which really helps a person like me who is connected with SSY to get back that energy.
And as long as there is a battery charge, performance of the phone is better. Right. That's why when it comes to 20-30%, people
Performance is low. Yes.
right, they become low, then they
Right.
go their power charging, and means everybody knows how to use a tablet, how to use a phone, how to recharge them. But people also should know how to recharge themselves. Like rightly you said, when you're stressed, when you are lost in your own world, you need to know how to reset. You have to go back and see how and what makes you to pump in that energy so that you can continue finding the solutions for the challenges in life with it. Most of the people don't have this knowledge.
Yeah.
And when they are feeling very down, very low, they are moved by external circumstance, by various other things. They end up in depression, challenges, health problems. These are the consequences of people, those who did not charge themselves when the battery was low.
True, I agree. Even I learned from SSO only that when you are vibrating at a lower energy, you attract similar results. And that's one of the reasons why when people are in depression, in the stressful situation, and they remain at that stage for a longer time, they really attract health challenges and the negativity in their life. And that could be one of the reasons that whenever I go in the low vibrating zone, I get back to higher vibrations by connecting with SSY. So that's a wonderful insight I have. Yeah. Now, this is something interesting which I would like to ask you. If you would like to share, like, what would be your typical daily routine, and what you really focus so that your productivity of the throughout the day is really at high. This is for listeners also, so that we understand from like my spiritual guru that how actually a typical day goes, and that's the energy which I have seen always. So what is that secret?
One is out of 24 hours, I keep myself active for 18 hours, 6 hours for sleep, and spend a lot of time in designing and planning what is required to execute in the form of my village activities, my Gurukul activities, and the existing programs which are happening, how it can be given to more people so that people can effortlessly take this program and then be benefited with it. So my thoughts are always engaged in what we can contribute to the world before we leave the world. So this alarm is always there in the mind. And of course, I keep my time for my meditation, pranayams, eating healthy, spending a quality of time with my children so that, they're also recharged. They're also in this wonderful path of creativity and contributing to the world with it. Otherwise, yes, we keep ourselves healthy and happy journey with it.
Thank you so much. That's such a wonderful that you, like you said, apart from like 6 hours sleep and then designing, you spend some time in designing and planning the day, and then always thinking of contributing and helping society. That's where I think your energy lies, and how you keep your productivity always at high. My next question is, today, after pandemic, where we are, if I not only me but as a listeners also, for listeners, if we really want to understand down the line for the next 5 years, would you like to share what are your plans, and are there any new programs or anything which is coming up in future where even listeners would like to connect and they will have some beneficial journey? So what is your next 5 years plan for SSY?
One is SSY program itself is evergreen, which will be required forever for the rest of the journey of human mankind here. And to add it to that, since nowadays a lot of people are on screen time, they spend a lot of time, maybe some of them 10 hours, 8 hours. And if you're working and then working professional and then have some sort of other screen timing, movies or social media, it goes sometimes even 12 to 14 hours also. So we have now come up for the last 1 year with Jyotir Prataka, which is in complete yogic eye management for the total eyes. Okay, that's exclusively designed program for only for the eyes, right from children to adults. So we have designed this program, and it is coming out very nicely. Many doctors have done, and they have seen a lot of changes, and many people are benefiting with it. Again, thanks to all the rishis and gurus who have given this knowledge thousands of years back, and it is useful to the world 2020 onwards also, and benefiting to them. And we have a few more programs in mind to give it to the society. It is based on the health challenges, which are nowadays the diabetic levels are going very high, and people post COVID, many irreversible disorders have happened to many people, even autoimmune challenges. So we are working on that, how to help people to overcome this post 2 years of challenges which have gone through. And we always have a collective ideas and see what is best to be given to the society. Yeah.
I think this is really going to give a lot of information that even I have attended the Trataka program, and I could see that benefits also. So looking at the pandemic and then the kind of new programs you're coming up with, these are definitely going to help all the society, and even for listeners also. I would request them to connect with SSY and learn about their new programs as well, and this will definitely help you to be in that zone of wellness. Now, my next question is, if you have one piece of advice which someone who is just starting on his or her wellness journey, what would be that one advice you will give, Guruji?
Advice in the sense of the lifestyle or the mind thoughtful process?
I think, yeah, in a both way sense you can tell, because what I'm asking is, if someone who is not connected with wellness and spirituality, and after listening to this podcast, let us assume someone wants to really start their journey, that yes, I'm really serious about my wellness and well-being, and I want to start. So what would be your advice to this person?
You should be very watchful 24/7 what you go through. If you are spending a lot of time in losing your energy, and every day if you see your performance levels are going down, every month if you measure your happiness levels are going down, you need to work on that. So no energy is permanent, it keeps variation. So you have to know what are the things which is taking your energy away, and you have to work on that to really improve on it. Maybe some people will have physical ailments, physical challenges. The deterioration is happening, and every 15 days once they observe, a monthly, a quarterly they observe. So they should really identify and work towards it to make it a proper direction. Some people go through on the conscious level, especially after you cross 40, 45. Most of the people, the mind energy is a downturn because they had enough stress, and that is the time they should enjoy actually. Because you worked hard so for from 22, 25 years onwards, 45 years, 20 years of good hard work. So if by chance you made some wealth and you have a house and a nice family, that's the time you should be thinking of retirement. Retirement not from the office kind of a thing, retirement from your stress, that unhealthy thinking, the unhealthy lifestyle, and start working on to make the journey at least a fullness with it. It doesn't mean that 25 to 45 should be suffering. It is just a calculation given. They should also be knowing the inner management to manage the outer source of it. And yes, if it is an physical disorders, they have to work on very cautious on their food and exercises that will help them to really uplift their energy. And those on the conscious level, you have to work a lot because easy to train physical matters than the mind. So they require a good mentor to really sharpen and then go deeper into it. I would suggest all listeners should connect to Vital Money for the mind management so that he can guide you and sharpen your mind and then have a lovely life with it. Yeah.
Wonderful, kind words for me, Guruji. I'm your Shishya.
But really, you worked for the last many years I've seen, and then you really framed many wonderful concepts and you dedicated your life so that what you got, all that in nutshell, to be gifted to many more. That's a wonderful beginning. Very few, maybe one in million, will get a thought of this to give back to people and society. It's a much beyond any normal person way of thinking with it. I always seen you being in that path with it.
Thank you, Guruji. And that's the purpose. Like, I personally believe that the way I struggled in my own journey, the way I could connect through my own struggle with SSY and other my mentors and coaches, I decided that let's be that source of information so that someone else who is struggling like me, at least I would become that guide and mentor to guide them in the right direction so that they can connect with gurus and mentors and coaches. Like, that's the whole idea behind starting this. So I think with this answer, I'm sure that listeners will be able to connect with their wellness journey when someone want to really start as a beginner. And this will be really helpful to understand that yes, this is how actually someone should start. Now, my next question would be, this is something very interesting for me to understand, that of course I want, like, everyone would love to listen from you, your association with founder Rishi Prabhakar Guruji, and few words about him, what you would like to talk about in this podcast, and any one incident if you could share, which is your memory with him in this journey.
In one nutshell, my entire life transformed by the touch of Rishi Prabhakar Guruji's, his association. And I got to meet many, the spiritual masters right from my childhood. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are from a spiritual background. And yes, every guru is unique. I always bow down to all the masters. But Rishi Prabhakar Guruji was something very special, even though having such a big job, lived in Canada as a senior scientist working, and it's a transformation from there, a scientist to a saint itself is a big step. From the best luxurious life to simple way of living itself is a transformation. And it is not just the transformation, but he lived by that. The simplicity was a part within which made all of us to get inspired and be in that source of simplicity. And his care was always how can we help society? How can we help the world? What is the best contribution we can do to the world? Was a constant thought in every time we get to meet, or every time you get a satsang with him, something new he used to add. Can we do this way so that people will be more benefited? Can we do this way so that Prakriti, the nature, is well taken care? So always the thoughts were about contributing, giving with it. Being associated with such master, it made us to also think in the same line with it. And going back into one instant to share which moved my life, I have few millions of such examples to share. Oh, one cannot be recollected as the golden one, but yet I tried to. And we all went for a walk in the jungle. It was a couple of days of walk. That's how Guruji used to say. He used to say, okay, let's go for a walk. If you call your children, let's go for a walk, it'll be about 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Max what? Another 3, you can make it a 5 kilometers walk.
5 kilometers, yes.
Right. It's a casual walk. And with Guruji, it used to be, he says, let's go for a walk means you do not know when you'll return. So,
Oh, that was nice.
okay. So, we used to call this as an ISD and local call. ISD means do not know how much the bill will be. Local means okay, 1 rupee only. So Guruji said, we'll go for a walk. We went into the jungle. We just had one torch, nothing else in the hand. Evening we left about 5:30 from the ashram. And we went on and on and on and on. And on the way, Guruji used to see the footprint and say, no, see, a tiger has passed through, a bear has gone through. And he was such a nature-friendly, nature-loving person. So we went and stayed in the mountain for the whole night. And next day we thought, okay, morning we'll be back in ashram, can have a nice shower and have breakfast. It went on and on. We say, Guruji, ashram is that side. He said, no, we have to walk this side. And then what is the breakfast? What is that you get? Some tiny fruits in the jungle. Based on the different climate, different season, you get some different small fruits. And that one fruit, that will be like, a small size as a black chickpea size. And you eat that one, that used to give so much of energy to walk another 1 or 2 kilometers. So I'm sharing this experience is, being with Master is not staying in a luxury hotel. And being with Master is not that a journey towards comfort or known. It is an absolute journey towards unknown, which is the reality of everyone's life, which we have forgotten with. And why I gave you this example is, on the way back, after 2 days, I think, we were all very hungry. And we passed through a small village. And in the cart, there was a villager selling the bananas. And we didn't have money. None of us had money because we just went for a walk. And then we went and I could see the Guruji going down and said, can you give us some banana to all of these people? And I'll send you the money from the ashram once we reach there. And all the villagers, they know Guruji well and his work in the society. So he said, no, Swamiji, please, please you eat, you can have it. And we all had one, two bananas, and the cart was half empty then. And then we know that we'll come back and give him the money. And maximum to maximum, what do you say? Okay, thank you. Or shake hand. And you give a hug and say, okay, it's such a great help that you did. And suddenly I saw, Guruji's eyes were filled with tears. And he just, did a Sastanga Namaskar to that gentleman. And he said, you came like a Narayana in my life. And that moment, it just shook all of us. We always have an ego that I have money. Okay, I paid and I got what I want. I have wisdom, I share and I get the applause. Okay, I have energy, I served and I take what I want from the company or society. But we don't see much beyond that. And how divinity is present in every present, every moment, in every aspect of life. So that made me really a big lesson to really go through that day. And that was quite very interesting and transformational. That is not just an act of the absolute prostrate to the gentleman, but it is the lesson which inspired me is how you can be always seeing the divinity in everyone that you meet, and how it is really connected with it. Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Guruji. It's such a wonderful lesson, which is like you rightly said, a journey with your guru or your master is having nobodiness. Like, you don't know anything and then walking with your master. And yes, of course, this is really a transformative. Even when you are sharing with me, I could really relate to it and understand how important to feel it that, anyone is really a person who can really teach us lessons in our journey as well. And this was a wonderful incident, what you could share from your other millions of incidents you would have been with Guruji. Now, my this question is when, as a family person, see, I know when I was with SSY since 2008 and how the journey started and where I'm still like connected with you, and I know that how this journey is moving forward. So, as a family person, when you're moving with SSY and traveling this journey, what you would like to share with us that something which you can share as a family person, what you would like to highlight that this is what actually helped you, or this is what, because when it comes to challenges and problem, you have already said that there are no problems. When you remove problem, what there are no problems. But as a family person, when you're driving this mission, you know, with your children, wife, and so how do you really feel that what really made you drive and how it made it possible to drive along with your family commitment as well?
Very nice. It's a very quite interesting question. Many people ask me this.
Yeah, because see, when that is when it is really good to understand how someone can really drive a spiritual journey while he has commitment with family as well.
You open any website, okay, any website, you will see certain things are standardized, like our pledge. You see, right?
Yeah.
Next, see our vision. Any startup company to a big companies in the world will have these. Then they write our services and they write our products. This is the basic information in many of the websites. And beneath that, they write contact us. So, why this is related only to the website? Why not to the life? Why not each family should have such websites? What do you mean by website? So, listeners will get confused. What is a website? Why do we need a website for a family? Means the first thing is, have you ever, all of you family members together, have you taken a pledge? What pledge to take? You decide. You go to your office, your boss will give you what is the target for next 3 months and what is the target for next 5 years, and where do they want to see the company after 25 years. Have we done that to our family? What is the vision of our family? We don't do that. What do we want in our family as the whole, everybody together? What do we want? We simply say we want health and happiness. What is it that you have done to see everyone is happy and healthy? And the definition comes, okay, each one will have different opinions on that. To know each one's opinion, each one's understanding on that, what we have to do? We have to sit every day or at least weekly twice and do the brainstorming. We all want to be happy, right? What do you mean by happiness on each person's angle of view with it? And for that, collectively, are we all working to lead a happy life? Simple. If you want to go for a new movie, you discuss with your family members, okay, shall we book this afternoon or evening? If it is evening, should we plan after the movie, the dinner, or before the supper? If it is for a supper, in which hotel is better? If that hotel, then what chat is better? Means we do so much of micro research on that. Or for what? One movie, one meal. Have we ever done for the family? We ask our children, do you want pani puri or dahi puri or samosa or masala dosa? Have we ever asked the children, how do you want to be happy in life? I would say 99.9999% of the world, they don't sit with the family and ask this question. Are we happy? And how can we work to improve our happiness in our family? Children has got brilliant ideas. We don't listen to them, that's it. I do that. So what happens? The entire family stands for a vision. If I give my vision to them to follow, it is a forced vision. If collectively listen and make a frame of that, it becomes a family vision. When family vision is so and so, then what to do, the actions will automatically will be imbibed with it. So I have seen with my children, from right from the small age, I always been interacting with them on this platform. So when they have that clear vision and what we are doing as a whole family for this society, it is always 100% support. I have seen many people before marriage with a lot of spirit. After marriage, the entire spirit has down and they unnecessarily blame the partner. I would say it is wrong. When two spirit beings are together, got married, the spirit should increase, not deteriorate. If it is deteriorating, means there is some sort of a lack of understanding on the common pledge, common vision, the common thing that you all want to do together to the society as well. And that people has to work. I don't say that, as a collectively one husband, wife, children should be 24 by 7 giving their life to the society. I don't say that. Out of 24 by 7, how do you want to live your life? You can only frame it. How many hours you want to allocate for society, how many hours in a day that you want to allocate so that you live a healthy life, you have a healthy brainstorming. These things has to be discussed right from the tiny small baby to the grown-up children, to the teens and to the adults and the elderly people also, because we miss out them very much. A person 80 plus or 85 or ripening age, we say, okay, we know what we need to give it to them. No, they have got a lot of things in their minds to give it to us. So I would strongly recommend every family start with this exercise, but you need to break your ego. Because all these years you've been dictating. When you want to listen, you need to let go the ego, but real fun starts. And you'll see as the entire family will live more happily. And things will fall in its place very fast.
Thank you, Guruji. I think this is really an insightful information where even when I could relate and I could understand that what it takes when we really sit with family and discuss the vision and have a common vision. And then when we drive towards it, it becomes easy to drive any journey, whether it is spiritual, professional, along with your personal commitment towards the family.
Anything one who really wants to see in general terms of a success outside has to come from the family support with him. Otherwise, I don't call it as a success, where you make the society happy and you're not happy with your own family members. That's not right. That's a very lowest level of. In other words, it's a kind of an egoistic management rather than a loving management.
Yeah, true, right. Thank you. This is the last question, and then I'll take a rapid fire question. The question is just for the listeners of Last Two Club family. Do you have any recommendation or any words to them who are listening to this as a Last Two Club family, but SSY, how I was connected, and that's the reason I wanted them to listen from you. I being SSY follower, and now I want my Last Two Club community also who is listening to this podcast. I want you to say a few words for me and the last so that they can understand how my journey started. Today I'm here where I'm connecting with my master and asking them to listen to you.
I would recommend the listeners to take a shot and then spend about 20 hours, that is 2 hours for 10 consecutive days. Join one of our online SSY program and see how it can really help and reframe your own lifestyle. You don't believe in my words. Don't believe in Vittal Mane's words. You experience. You experience. This is what I always tell. Don't listen to me because that's my story. Don't listen to anybody who has benefited because that is their success story. You experience. When you experience, you become a center of gravity. People will see you and they get inspired. Like I know how many people Vittal Mane has referred to SSY, and from their relatives to colleagues to the even in the corporate programs also. because people have seen the change and they asked, "What do you do?" And that has made people to get into the program and then get more benefit with it. Yeah, that's my always session. Don't listen to us, you experience.
So with this, I will go to rapid fire questions. I'll just ask you, and you have to answer quickly. Like, what would be your answer? So, if you want to share a quote which you find in your life has really impacted you, what is that one quote you would like to share with the listeners?
In most of my on air or TV shows, I share this thought. An expert driver will never complain on others driving, not on the road, but in life.
From your reading, the books, whatever you have read, would you like to share one of the book which you would like to recommend to our listeners that they should read? That one book which will help them change their life.
Rishi Prabhakar Guruji has written many books. One of the book which I love to read again and again is A King Size Life and an Empty Wallet.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Guruji. Next is if someone starts their wellness journey, spiritual journey, what is your recommendation that how many days consistently someone should practice to see the result?
Then there's a Hindi saying, "Thoda hi karo, magar har din karo." As one complete cycle to experience, you should do at least for about 40 days, one mandala. 4 days is minimum, so that on an experiential and the registration on your physical results can be really be witnessed. 40 days, 6 weeks is too good. Yeah.
One tip for listeners who want to reduce their weight.
Very simple. When anybody offers food instead of this exercise, do this exercise.
Wonderful. Yeah.
See, if really losing the weight, it is a simple calculation, like how your expenses are always planned with the income. Same, it should be in the physiological. Your input and output should be equally been planned. The day you don't do much physical work, skip one meal. That's it. Take some fruits, some salads. That's more than enough. If you feel that your physical work is not much, and I always call this as an EPND. EPND stands for ever pregnant, never delivered. People after certain age and then certain time, when they have got comforts in life, they end up with either sort of an obesity and many other complications. Be watchful in what you eat, and if you really want a proper understanding, you can approach us. Every individual have a different sort of. People have with the stress also they put on weight. Some people by hereditary they put on weight. But these are all only to know, but not the reasons that you should suffer. One family, 4 people came. I still remember. They came for a counseling, and then all the 4 were in equal size. Okay. Children, parents, and all. I asked, why you're all so obese? And the gentleman with a smile, he said, "No, Guruji, obesity is running in our family." I said it other way around. Nobody is running in the family. So we have a reason to compromise ourselves. Be watchful on the food. Yeah.
Your one favorite raw food recipe, because see, some of them who don't know, but I learned the importance and the varieties of raw food recipes when I started my journey with SSY. So I just want to ask you one raw food recipe which you would like to recommend here, that this is one recipe which I would.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Vittalji. Because most of the people in the world, when they make a raw food, it is more of a cut pieces, slice, and then just as a side dish.
Yes. Correct.
But last 40 years, SSY has contributed so much work on the raw food to raw meal.
Right.
So when it is a meal of raw, and you don't feel that you're missing your cooked meal. And taste wise, you can do much wonders with the raw food meal with it. And if you are a sweet love, if you have a sweet tooth, you should try with beetroot dessert. Beetroot grated with little banana and coconut, honey, and a few dry nuts chopped, and banana. Yes, chopping all of this mango and all will make a very nice dessert and very healthy, calcium wise, and it helps to cleanse the system. If you're diabetic, then you can avoid that as a dessert. Take it with the kara, beetroot salad. If the listeners are willing to know those recipes, can contact our Last Two Club. I can share those so that you can get that from the Last Two Club Vitamin team. Yeah.
Last question. You one wellness activity without which you feel you are incomplete, which you do regularly.
Meditation.
Meditation. Yes. Correct. Thank you. Yes. Even I feel myself incomplete without meditation. So since 2015, with learnings from you and the journey what I had in my life, I really started practicing meditation. Until today, I feel myself incomplete if I'm not practicing meditation in that day. So last thing is your best wishes for Last Two Club and me, which you would like to share here on this podcast, and we'll conclude the session.
First thing is, those of you connected to the Last Two Club, you're lucky and you've chosen the right place, so that you will be guided with wonderful person like Vital Mani. And everyone needs a mentorship. It is not that everyone is complete by their own. Need a mentorship with it. So spend more time with Vital Manaji and keep sharpening yourself. You will have a wonderful, blessed, and a beautiful life ahead with it. Because Vital Mani is not just a person with giving you information only for professional or any particular direction of life. He has an experience of overall. That is very important. So that you should hang on to somebody who really will answer to the questions that you go through in life. Otherwise, unanswered questions will bother you inside. So stick to him and get more insightful with his team and make the life more beautiful with it. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji. And such a wonderful conclusion when my master is talking for me on my podcast. That's such a wonderful moment for me in this podcast. And I really thank you from bottom of my heart, Guruji, for giving your time and talking to me on this podcast and sharing your journey and that information, which I think this would be really useful information for all the listeners of this podcast and people who are not yet started their wellness journey or spiritual journey, people who are in between their journey and they are stuck with any challenges or thoughts which are stopping them. I think this podcast will really help them to get started and really live a life with attending that wellness means before getting any sickness to yourself. That is where the wellness lies, and that is what is very important for everyone to understand where exactly the wellness is. And when wellness and spirituality goes hand in hand, I think that's a wonderful journey one can have in their life. So again, thank you very much, Guruji, and I look forward to have such conversations in future also along with my community, and I'm definitely going to plan something more and get connected with you on this.
Definitely. Thanks to Vitalji for calling us, and so much of preparation is there for such live programs to happen, and your continuous thoughts to help society is amazing, Vitalji. And good luck to all the listeners. Bless you all.
थैंक यू. जय गुरुदेव. थैंक यू. आपको हमारा ये एपिसोड कैसा लगा जरूर बताइए. Go to lastoclub.com and drop your feedback there. If you haven't downloaded the Lastro Club app as of now, then it's high time for you to go to your Play Store and download the mobile app now and listen to all the episodes on Last Row Club app. Before I leave, as I always say, let's create a beautiful legacy of a great mankind with only religion as a humanity and single nation with no boundaries. Signing off for now, this is your host, Vittal Mane. We'll talk to you next week with fresh and high vibrating thoughts. Until then, take care, stay safe and healthy, and do keep listening to Last Row Club.